Hi there, all you YouTubers. Today I'm going to kind of do a little touch base on canning. I honestly want to say I don't feel comfortable at this time to really go into too much detail of canning. Even though me and my wife's been canning for about 7 years, I'm just going to refer you to a couple things. Kind of go over a few basics. I gotta honestly say I have gotten several people into canning this past year, and one book I refer anybody to is the Ball Blue book of preserving. This is a really great book. Within 7 years, ours has started. I just last night realized I am missing a page out of here. This is a good book on basic canning. Everybody I personally know that cans have a copy of this book on hand. I do have several other cookbooks, but a couple years ago, came across this at our local library. And it goes into a little bit more. It's not the blue book, it's home preserving. It's a Ball canning book. This book is really great. Just in the thickness alone. This book has a whole lot more detail in it. I do have a couple other canning books, but I'm not going to go into those. But those two books I kind of refer to more than anything else. Now, if you are just getting into canning, I'll hold these up. I kind of suggest you look for these little packets. I don't have any for salsa, but there's one out for salsa. There's one out for spaghetti. There's actually, I didn't even think about it until now. I actually got one around the house somewhere for making ketchup. The only time I pick them up is when they're on sale. Okay. Those packets, they go through the detail on how much of the product you need, and any other, like vinegar if you need it, how much water in packets. I mean, it gives pretty good details. If you're just kind of experimenting in canning, I suggest you kind of look at the salsa one, because so many people like salsa. I'm actually making applesauce right now. I'm doing this video. The jars. There is a difference. Quite a few different jars. There's a smaller one for jellies, which jellies you don't want a full, I don't know, you might, but most people don't want a full quart for jelly. Main two is some quart jars and a pint jars. For years we used the pint jars because we did not have a big pressure canner, which I'll get in more detail of that. The jars, like I said, main two is quart and pint. There are several others. You can get them up half gallons. If you really look, you can find gallons. I don't know why you'd want to. I cannot think of too many uses for a half gallon. But I do. I'm kind of considering it for a few things. Okay. Let me first of all start with the pots. Now, a lot of people recognize these pots. Now, this is for water bath. If you're water bathing, which is currently kind of what I'm doing with that pot as a pressure cooker. Water bathing you're boiling the jars, things like tomatoes you can water bath, things like the applesauce you can water bath, things that don't have high acid stuff, things that do have high acid you can water bath, things like green beans. Now if you water bath them, it takes several hours. It takes like 4+ hours to water bath green beans. Pressure cooking, it intenses the heat. I'm not going too much on detail of the pressure cooker, but you put a little weight on the top. It's either a jiggler or lets the steam out slowly according to pressure. Elevation has to do with factor in or how much pressure your canner's needing. Which canning cookbooks kind of covers that. So I'm kind of giving a basics on canning here. So that kind of covers the pot's base. A good stock pot is always handy on canning. Now, I am going to cover this real quick. You are not supposed to use, this is a big warning, you're not supposed to use large canners on a glass top stove. You have a major risk of breaking this glass. And we've been lucky enough that we have not broken ours. Luckily enough, I don't know exactly why it is, if these pots are just too heavy, the pressure in between them, I don't know what. The canning funnel is really handy. They have some a little bit more fancier ones out now, but these basic funnels, they just slip in a small mouth jar. There is 2 different sizes of jars. I'll cover that here in just a second. You need a canning funnel. Another thing you need is a jar lifter. This one I have lots of handles off the top. I got another cheaper one. Cheaper one than that in the drawer, keep for backup. Now, when you're canning, and I need to put them in, kind of on the back burner, keep a little pot of water, kind of sterilize and heat up the seals. I'll get the seals here in a moment. Kind of want to sterilize and heat up the seals. And the jar lifter has a little magnet on the bottom. I keep mine on the back of the stove all year because little girls like to play with the magnets. I keep 2 funnels usually pretty close to the stove. Size of the mouth of the jar, there's 2 different sizes. There's a regular, and I have heard people talk about the Mainstay, which basically is a Walmart brand, not selling quite as well. I have had a few problems, not many with them. They're just a little bit cheaper. They're 2.75 inch diameter. They fit a regular size jar mouth. Now here's actually the ball wide mouth. Let's see. Well, I don't know right off the top of my head the size of that, but they are a little bit bigger than a regular. I just got a few of the wide mouth. I don't have too many of them. Mainstay, as far as I know, don't make the wide mouth. Another thing you kind of might want to look into for canning is a food mill, which this one's really neat compared to the one my mom had growing up. She had one that was metal, that had a metal bottom. Nothing wrong with that, but this plastic one, it actually comes with 3 different screens. The one is currently in a dishwasher right now, so the finer one, which I use for tomato juicing and making tomato paste. One other thing that we have kind of slightly invested in is a jelly bag, which that don't cost a whole lot. Kind of helps juice the stuff, and it's kind of real handy. I like making jellies. We make so many jellies and butters, though, it's kind of crazy. This is just kind of basic, some basic equipment. Food mill. This one is fairly cheap. I cannot remember how much we paid for this. This works. There is some things that you can use a food processor or blender on. Which apple sauce that I'm currently making will use a food processor. There is a food mill out that has an auger. You can buy it hand crank or electric. Some friends of mine, a couple other friends that do canning, I know they have them. They work really great. Apparently, I just found out this past week, which makes me want to get one more. Making applesauce, all I'd have to do is cook the apples, put it through it, which process I'm doing, you have to peel and cut the apples and core them. So it takes a little bit more. I really want to say auger type food mill. But for now, that little one works fine. Something else that you might come across when looking at canning supplies, the rings. When you buy jars, they come with them. If you buy the jars at yard sale, you might not come with all the rings. The rings are actually, you only have to keep them on during the canning process. When you store them, you don't have to keep the rings on, which personally I'm afraid the seal might pop off. But most of the time, the seals will just kind of stick on there from the vacuum. And whenever you are canning, after you can the stuff, whatever you are canning, all you gotta do, check the seals, is see if it pops or not. After it's canned, the top won't move at all. Kind of starting to run out of time, so I'll kind of go over this a little bit quicker. But anything I'm talking about, refer back to those ball canning cookbooks. Let's come over here to the pantry. Alright. Let me pull this one out. Here's some apples and syrup that I made last night. See, the top is kind of sucked in there. It doesn't make the popping. Here's some tomato sauce I made. I guess that was yesterday too. There's some pie filling from last year. I have heard a lot of people talk about how long this stuff lasts canned. Some of the stuff